Coming up this week on Beyond the Vibe, we're joined by Ali, lead vocalist of Electric Black.
Music just is something you can understand without understanding it, without understanding what's going on. You get a feeling, you get an emotion from it. We love the album, but it's definitely had a sort of a vibe to it, and we wanted to kind of mix up a little bit with the EP, which is what we've done tempo-wise, arrangement-wise. We all love playing the lead track, Calendar Queen. It's got a transition, it has like a real journey. The riff is quite swaggering. The chorus is driving, and it's simple enough that you can really enjoy it and just get stuck into it. It's got this call and response with the backing and the lead parts. And then it's got this kind of funk outro bit. It's kind of Cadillac 3-esque. And I still to this day don't know how that came about. I think I went out for a piss, came back in, and they were doing like this dun 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 dun, and I was like, okay.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Vibe, the show that cuts deep into the world of music.
My name is Aaron Day, lead guitarist of the UK band Ali Shiach, and I'm here with music videographer and photographer, all praise, Mr. Ryan Basie.
It is.
I like how you even gave yourself a moment of quiet contemplation. Like you had to lay the red carpet for yourself because you are. Yeah.
I had to.
I am mad too.
Just present that.
just present that. Very good.
Of course, if you want to help us in any way, you can go down to your local tattoo parlour and get the words Beyond the Vibe emblazoned across your forehead, or alternatively, you could just share the video as well. That does also help.
That'd probably be a lot easier for most people. I imagine it's hard to get a job if you've got Beyond the Vibe podcast. I like the idea that somebody's done it themselves and they've done it the wrong way. So it's backwards to anybody else that's reading it. I mean,
that would be even better, because every time you look in the mirror, it would then be the right way.
would it be even better though, right? This is why you've got the home base logo wrongly tattooed on the bottom half of your back, because in the mirror you can see it and it reminds you of your favourite home appliance store. But to everyone else, it looks like you've been hit on the head. But we'll move on from that. But yes, if you want to support Beyond the Vibe podcast, you can of course get our logo tattooed on your forehead or on your buttocks or on your arm, wherever you like. Or you can simply click the subscribe button and click the bell, and then you'll never miss an episode of the wonderful Vibe and join the family around the Vibe. But this week, of course, Mr. Basie, we've got a relatively new band. I think obviously they've been together. I mean, it's always weird with new bands because I think the band themselves don't feel like a new band because they're probably sick of each other. They've had many years of graft, But it's specifically to our ear holes, Electric Black. We've got Ali on the show this week. Relatively new on the scene.
Yes. They're a band that I spotted only a while ago because they were doing a gig with Howling Tide. So this is literally a couple of weeks, really.
Gifford.
Yes, and I thought, Electric Black. I've not heard of them properly yet. Like, I've seen the name a couple of times appear, but I thought let's have a look at them. And really good, promising band, I think. They have. They've come out the gates with a very solid identity, which I really like.
And I'd agree. They come across like a band that's been together for sort of 6 or 7 years and have fully formed themselves a bit more, whereas they seem like straight out the gates they know who they are and they know what they're trying to put across, which is a really strong quality for a band. Obviously, as we hear in the interview, the initial seeds were sown early on, and I think that might have helped in terms of where they are now, because I think a lot of, if you take me and the Boys in Rivers, for example, when we came together sort of 7 or 8 years ago, we're very much a different band and look very different to where we do now. We've only just started. Chin strap and a goatee, people. Chin strap and a goatee.
Beautiful.
the women weren't safe. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, we've kind of really found our identity in the past 2 years, where it does seem like Ali and the boys in Electric Black have know who they are and know what sort of thing they're putting across. So I think it must be difficult when they come into a scene like the New Wave of Classic Rock, which is wonderful and a fantastic community. We discussed it in the interview, kind of how accepting and how cool it is to see different faces as they've kind of had the first steps in it. But it must be hard as well, because you're looking around and you're seeing all these great bands that really know who they are and separate themselves by that. There's bands like Wagons and Mason Hill, and they all step apart based on the identities they've formed over time, and it's probably a positive thing that Electric Black have already got that laid out for themselves, and then they can find their own mark they can make on the scene.
Yes, and you can hear all about Electric Black now.
So we're here with Ali, lead vocalist of Electric Black. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
We're doing all right, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Fantastic.
Always
Happy to have you.
So one thing that we like to do on the show is we like to go back to the origins of a musician. So with that in mind, when was the first time you remember hearing music and thinking, like, this is what I want to do? Did you have like a moment?
I mean, my dad used to play, when I was a kid, sitting in his car playing songs. And immediately, this like music just it's something you can understand without understanding it, without understanding what's going on. You get a feeling, you get an emotion from it. So I had a lot of music influence like that as a kid, but I was actually quite late to being a musician or being in a band. I was in bands and stuff at school, but it wasn't until I was about 19 that I made the decision that I wanted to pursue music. I really found myself at a bit of a crossroads personally, with lots of potential but very little actual direction at that time in my life. And I sort of picked up a guitar. It sounds super cliche, but honestly, I was living in a scummy little bedsit. I bought an acoustic off someone I worked with for 20 quid and a chord book, and went from there. And then had my best mate at the time back around where we're from, Hertfordshire, was a bass player, and then we sort of strung some other members together, and here we are 12 years on, and Electric Black is sort of blooming. I hope so. Anyway, it's doing something.
I mean, we like a bit of romance, don't we? We like the romantic stories of being in the bedsit with the guitar and whatnot. So yeah, we're well into that. So obviously, you say that was 12 years ago. Was that when the initial foundations of the band were formed? Because we've got you kind of formed around sort of 2018.
Yeah. So
to that point.
So me and like I said, my buddy Chris, who was the original bass player, we formed another band under a different name, which eventually John, our current guitarist, joined, and we were a different band, and we operated as that band, not really, kind of finding our way, not really knowing how we wanted to sound. We did little bits of recording here and there. And then we disbanded that because it just ran out of steam. Yeah. And we had a couple of years where really me and John didn't know what to do. We went out as a two-piece, believe it or not, just to gig really. We did a handful of shows as a two-piece, and then we thought, right, let's try and get the right people together now. Let's build something new. And the name Electric Black came around, and we actually went through another drummer, another bass player, and then we've hit the formula, I think, now. So yeah, we say we're about 4 years old in this lineup, this sound, these songs, this body of work, as we call Electric Black.
Cool.
So yeah, 2018 would be about right.
Cool, fantastic. So like you say, you're 4 years down the line, and like you say, you feel like this is the best sort of, it feels great and feels like you're progressing, and that's what we feel, with you boys really bursting onto the scene. Is there a moment for you personally over the past 4 years, whether it be a certain song or a practice or a gig, obviously, as we said before off air, you've just had your EP show, where you thought, fucking hell, this is going to be good. This feels like it's going to go somewhere.
Okay, yeah. So when we launched our album in 2019, that was a big moment. It was the same venue that we've just done the EP launch at, and we'd never really taken on a gig ourselves by the scruff of the neck and put the lineup together and sorted the ticket sales, and we didn't sell it out. I think it's a 300 or 350 cap venue, but we weren't far off, and you know, when the lights come up and you see all those people, and we were just 4 dudes that were just rehearsing in my mum's dining room, you know, and to see a room full of people, that was a real moment. And we all, that was the next day, we all sort of, well, the next few days we took stock and we were like, you know, something could be happening. You know, people are digging what we're up to. And then during lockdowns, actually, I just played more guitar because I had the time to, because we didn't have to practice the set for the gigs at the weekend. Everyone did, you know, and just stuff was falling off my fingers, you know, new riffs, better ideas. And I think the same can be said for, you know, John was writing some bangers, you know, Matt's got writing ideas. So lockdown's been good for us in that sense. And we've got a lot of great new material. I think it's the best material we've sort of been putting together. And so that's come out of lockdown, yeah.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, obviously you kind of touched on it a bit there with the upcoming EP, Beggars, Thieves, and everything in between, which will be out by the time this airs. When you were kind of coming up with that collection of songs, did you have like a certain vibe that you wanted to achieve this time around compared to the full album?
The honest answer is no. We didn't have we didn't have a plan, a forward plan, an idea. We didn't go into it with a brief, you know, that we gave ourselves, but we did. We wanted to have a bit more diversity. It's quite a diverse mix of songs, to the point where potentially it's maybe not completely cohesive, but you know, it's kind of nice having an EP that goes there and does a bit of this and takes it down. The album one was quite groove based. You know, we love the album, but it definitely had a sort of a vibe to it, and we wanted to kind of mix up a little bit with the EP, which is what we've done tempo wise, arrangement wise. There's little tastes of what will come on the second album, the production as well. We started working with Mike Exeter, and that was just like a whole nother, opened a world of how we could sound. Because, you know, we're musicians, we're not producers. We know the very basics, you know, but when you get someone at a desk that can open this idea, this avenue, it's brilliant. So it's really nice. We kind of use the EP as a sort of test in the water, working with Mike and if he wanted to work with us, and it was a success from both parties, I feel. Great working relationship, and yeah, more of that for album 2.
Fantastic. No, it's cool. I think that's the beauty of an EP, isn't it? It can be utilised as a bit of a bridge between different albums, and albums are obviously where you really kind of, you know, put yourself out there as this is who we are, you know. And I always find it interesting working with different recording engineers or producers, because it's particularly, as you said very well, when you're a musician, you don't really know what tools you need to get the sound out your head, you know, and it can be frustrating at times when you're trying to record and you think, oh, I want this to sound like that. This is how it sounded in my head.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then when you meet like a Gandalf character that takes you into this,
that's it.
And they always look like Gandalf. maybe I want them to look like Gandalf, and it's me pretending, whereas really they look like geography teachers.
Maybe
I always think of them looking like Gandalf, and they listen to you, and then they take it into this whole other realm, and it is a massive part of yourself and the band's progression, because they just elevate you to this level, another level, don't they?
Yeah, you know, I'm especially bad at articulating what I'd like to hear. It's more a case of like, we should do like a meow or a da-da-da, you know, and they'll go, oh yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, we got this. We could try this.
We've got a now button. We've got a now.
Yeah, you know, and then you're like, yeah, that one, or no, just dial that in a little bit more. And it's a very organic and wonderful process, you know, when you get that right chemistry with the producer. Our producer on album 1 was brilliant, you know, a great local lad, and not taking anything from that production, but it's just a growing process, isn't it? And it was just, like you say, nice when you work with new people and you find these new dynamics.
Yeah, that's it, man. Obviously, as the band has kind of grown and evolved, would you say at all your character as the front man, you know, and as the leader of the band in many ways, has changed at all? We talk a lot about that when you go on stage, you kind of change into this different personality a little bit, you know. What do you reckon goes into your character on stage, and would you say it's changed at all as the band has developed and grown?
I mean, I guess it has subconsciously. I think I'm better at talking in between songs, which I used to be terrible at. I try and do less, even though I'm probably doing it loads now. that used to happen a lot. There you go, there's one. Vocally, there's another one. I'm a much better singer than I ever have been, because it's something I've worked at and I've worked on. And we're just a more cohesive unit, and we besides the music and behind the music, you know, we all have our little roles in the band as well now, which again is a nice working dynamic that no one ever tells you about when you start in a band. You know, when you're in a garage with your mates and you're the bass player, you're the drummer, you know, someone's got to email the promoters, someone's got to, you know, do the Zoom chat, someone's got to ping emails and chase up leads and handle finances and book logistics and transport, you know. So it's a real nice, it's nice when it's the team effort, you know, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And when we get on stage for that 40 minutes, an hour and a half, it's just fun and it just comes together. And, you know, that's what you rehearse for and that's what we love.
Oh, amazing, man.
So when it comes to gigging that new material off the EP, are there any songs that like you particularly look forward to playing live?
The lead track, we all love playing the lead track, Calendar Queen. It's got a transition, you know, it has like a real journey. The riff is quite swaggering. The chorus is driving, and it's simple enough that you can really enjoy it and just get stuck into it. It's got this call and response with the backing and the lead parts. And then it's got this kind of funk outro bit. It's kind of Cadillac 3-esque. And I still to this day don't know how that came about. I think I went out for a piss, came back in, and they were doing like this dun 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 dun, dun. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's try that, see how that fits. So Calendar Queen is a great fun live track. There's a song called Down to Ride, which is an acoustic duo song, which is a song that I'd written, I think in like the first lockdown or coming into the first lockdown. And actually our drummer Matt was like, that's a cool tune, we should do something with that. So there was quite a bit of, you know, a nice compliment for Matt to say, let's push that forward. And I enjoy doing that. I get a little bit, I don't know, not nervous is the wrong word, but it's very exposed. You know, we played it Saturday night and we'd done 3 or 4 full band banging tracks, and then it's just me and John, and like the lights went down, and I love it, but it's still new, like kind of that edgy new feel, which I enjoy. But there's always that crossover when you get to like, okay, I'm comfortable now. Then you can really live, you know, loosen up and live with it. So those 2 songs, I think for me, I really enjoy.
Awesome, man. It's cool like that you want to push yourselves out there and challenge yourselves, because I love them dynamics in a set when bands come bring it down, you know, and it helps separate. Because if you've just got like full kind of sonic, you know, annihilation for like an hour and a half, you know, it can be quite intense, whereas it helps separate and focus on the different kind of variables of the band, as you know, when you do that in a set. So it's cool that you boys are pushing yourselves to do that.
Yeah, it's something we like to try. I went to see Blackstone in Cambridge a few weeks back.
I was just thinking of Blackstone when you said.
Yeah, they're great at doing that, aren't they?
Yeah,
you know?
Killer, man. Oh, so good.
So we like to try and do a bit of that stuff.
Yeah, I always think of Blackstone doing it with stuff like Things My Father Said and Pieces. Like it's just
exactly.
Chris is really good at bringing the whole crowd in, you know, and making you feel part of it, you know. And I imagine you get a lot of inspiration from that sort of performance.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Now, one of the things we like to ask as well, Ali, is it's kind of trying to understand, because obviously most people will watch the band and they'll see this character on stage, you know, this screaming rock demon, which I get a lot of compliments about. But away from that, obviously we're all normal people and we've all got, like we said, our 9 to 5s. What do you do away from the stage, man? You know, what do you do work-wise, and how do you like to relax?
I am a welder fabricator.
Cool.
I have been for 11 years now. And the reason I started the job was because I was living and working away, and I wanted to come back and start the band. So my buddy, who is his dad's firm, I said I need a job, and he said, well, my dad's hiring, and he said, can you weld? I said, no, but it sounds fun. So he took me on and started at the bottom, and I really love it. You know, I love having that ability. I guess it's like a creativity thing. You know, you can see something or have an idea, make it, and go away and cut it, punch it, weld it, bend it, which is nice. So that's me, 9 to 5. Well, 7:30 till 4:30, and then Friday to Sunday night, rock and roll.
Nice, man. I mean, I like the idea of, well, it's a very heavy metal job, and it makes
Literally.
you think of,
Yeah.
reminds me of Tony Iommi when he was in the Foundries in the middle of Deepest Darkest Birmingham. So I like that. That's a cool job, man. You're doing it all right.
Yeah, no, it's all right, man. Thank you.
Now we like to kind of throw some strange questions at us. I know. So hypothetically, for Electric Black's next album, you've got a gun to your head. You've been told that you have to do another genre, but you have full creative control. What would that genre be?
I mean, I'd naturally say blues, like go and do an out-and-out blues album. Is that a cheat though? Because we've kind of got some blues vibes. How far have I got to go with this?
I mean, it depends. I mean, we normally go with the prerogative that you basically got control, so you can piss off the rest of the band potentially if you choose to. Yes, I mean that's kind of. But it is your control. If you want to do like a very straight blues, I mean, how straight blues are we going?
Do you know what? No, I'm going to change. I'd do a country album.
Oh,
yes,
yeah. I'd go country. John would probably go metal. Matt would probably go, I don't know, I think he'd do some sort of electronic hip-hop crossover guitar mashup. And I think Ryan would probably do, do you know what, Ryan is so diverse, I don't even know where Ryan would go with it, to be honest.
Could be anything.
He'd create a monster. He would be the one that would throw us all off, yeah.
Well, I kind of like this idea of the coming together of the different things in the band of like a hip-hop electronic country album. I don't know if that'd
be wild.
I mean, it's your choice, but I don't know. I don't want to...
Honestly, when we're like driving to gigs, like the music choice is wild, you know, because Matt will just be queuing them up. We'll shout out a song, and you could go from, you know, Pantera to Hot Chocolate to Lou Reed to Metallica to Black Stone. Yeah, they all kind of wind up being guitar-y, but there's a good mix in there for sure.
All right, I like the idea of like a country album, Electric Black country album. I think country seems to be a lot of people's kind of, you know, if they were going to do something different, it's the next thing, because it still feels like relentlessly cool, and like from like yourself as a kind of a songwriter's point of view, you've got so much room within country to kind of experiment and grow as a band. So now I think that'd be quite a cool thing. Looking forward to the next album being a country album. No pressure, Ali, of course.
Okay. Spoiler alert, it won't be, but maybe the one after.
Yeah,
maybe
give it time. We'll always be in the background, just reminding you about this conversation. I know you're in the studio. Just remember, country's actually the way to go. You know, we'll get there eventually. We're kind of going back to the more serious side of things, man. Obviously, you know, you boys have, you know, really moving forward now with awesome energy. Like, where do you see the band in 10 years' time? Do you have any personal goals you'd like to reach? You know.
My personal goal would be to stop welding and do music all the time. That's my goal. No, I guess we just want to keep pushing as best we can and playing to slightly bigger venues and slightly further field places, and you know, going to Europe, maybe go further abroad. Just play music, man. Like as most bands do. That's really probably cheap answer, isn't it? But it's just on to the next, isn't it? Go get bigger, get better.
No, that's it. I mean, as you said, it's a similar answer. Probably the most common answer we have is just wanting to do it as their own thing.
As their thing, yeah. That full-time job, isn't it?
I think the dream changes when you start doing it for a few years. I think when you first, you know, when you're like 10, 11 years old and you know, miming air guitar in your bedroom or whatever, I think you imagine stadiums and you imagine download and all of that. But when you spent time with the 4 or 5 of you in the band, you know, you just want to be able to do that just consistently, don't you? It changes the dynamic and the mentality, definitely.
And what I'm discovering as well, which I didn't at first, is all the other parts of being in a band which don't involve playing the music. I used to kind of be like, nope, don't want that, you know, we'll get someone else to do that. But actually, you got to do that. You got to do the legwork. And now I kind of relish it because it's nice. It's just little boxes you can tick off, you know, like posted this merch, booked that, contacted this person. And that's important stuff as well. And that's part of, I don't think you envision that, you know, when you're a kid, oh yeah, I want to be in a band, just want to, you know, be a rock and roll star. You've got to do all that stuff. And it's kind of rewarding. It's just part of the territory, isn't it?
That's it. And I think you naturally end up, you know, meeting people that you've sent merch out to, or when you send in merch, you'll think, oh, I know that person, I've seen them at 3 or 4 gigs, and that community comes into it as well, you know. So
absolutely, yeah. You mentioned that the new wave of classic rock movement is exactly like that. You know, we're going to gigs now, and people are going, oh, we've never heard of you, but you know, you guys are really good. And then we'll see them next week somewhere. They go, oh, you know, we met you last week, and that change seems to have just happened out of lockdowns for us, to be honest. Since we got going live again, I don't know if, you know, we've just played a few of the right shows with the right lineups and the right audiences. I mean, I'm pretty sure that is what it has been, and it's just kind of snowballing a little bit, which is really nice.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, you boys played with the Howling Tides recently, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's at the Gifford. Yeah, a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, so like we you know, I've known the Tides boys for probably about 5-6 years, and Ryan filmed them at Rock City a few weeks back with Skindred. So it's weird. It kind of all, as you start to play them sort of gigs, everyone ties in, you know, and knows each other, and it's just, you end up with, like you say, community is the word it seems to always come back to. You know,
absolutely, man.
Nice to be part of a scene, you know, and have that support.
100%.
That's killer. For folks that want to check the band out, obviously, you know, as we've now returned fully to live music, all being well, still say that, you know. What gigs have you got planned coming up where folks can come and check out Electric?
Put me on the spot, why don't you? We've actually got an acoustic slot this Thursday evening at the Hawley Arms. That's the 23rd. I don't know if this will be out by then, but anyway, that's a Thursday night. Saturday night, the 20. So that'd be the 25th. Or that 27th. My dates are completely wrong. This Saturday, we're at the Rock Den in Hatfield.
Cool.
We've got a couple local to us, Hertfordshire gigs further on into December, and we've got a couple booked for next year, early next year, and potential for a tour of Spain.
Oh, which, amazing.
As of the last week or so, they've just revised the visa situation in our favour, so it's now viable financially, and we're putting that together as we speak. So that'll be, I think, early March. I'm going to go out across northern Spain. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing, man. I wasn't aware of the visa change. So does that mean that obviously now bands can go over there without having the kind of financial impact or
yes, as you say? Yes, without, you know, you can go over there and we can work and stuff now without needing to get a visa to work.
Awesome.
Because we were pretty bummed about that. Because we were, that's a fantastic opportunity. We were all in, and then following Brexit and stuff, it was like, well, we'll just sit tight and wait to see if this is going to be doable. And they just made a decision on it in the last week, which is cool.
Yeah,
awesome. Really, really good.
Yeah, that'll be killer experience, man. Me and Ryan hopefully catch you on the road at some point, or be able to share stage with you at some point, man.
Absolutely, yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, killer.
Be wicked.
Now, one thing we like to finish the show on, if you could tour with one band from the past and one band from the present, who would they be?
Ooh, okay. From the present, I think it'd be Rival Sons.
Good choice.
I mean, we're all fans, but I'm personally a big Rival Sons guy. From the past, I don't know. It'd have to be Sabbath on it, or Deep Purple. You know,
who would you pick out of them two? Like, if you had to pick a classic band to have that experience with.
I'd go Sabbath because I think it would just be hell raising.
I mean, you might not live through it, but you know.
No, I don't think either. Touring with either band wouldn't be a day trip to the library, would it? Let's be honest. But I think Sabbath would be cool.
I like that because obviously I think Rival Sons inducted Sabbath into the Hall of Fame. I can remember seeing.
Yes,
I do remember
this.
Covers, yeah. War Pigs and.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, because I loved the way Jay sang it ever so slightly different, very much like in his own character. I thought it was really cool.
They totally toured together, didn't they? I've just picked two bands that toured together a couple of years ago.
Oh, well, it'll be perfect then.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's actually possible. You're probably one of the few ones that's ever selected it, and it might actually be possible.
I might not even need the time machine.
You might not need the time machine. And your payment's coming up on that anyway, isn't it? So it's probably a good thing. All right, cool. So we've got obviously Electric Black, and then we'll have Rival Sons underneath, and then we'll have Sabbath. Would you have Sabbath as they are now, or would you have Sabbath in the heyday?
Yeah, you could go with the time machine.
Yeah, you could have the time machine.
No, it's got to be Time Machine, isn't it? It's got to be Sabbath back in there, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I think that mainly because it's a realistic lineup, but also because it's fucking badass.
It's a killer lineup.
It's a killer lineup. Awesome. We'll do what we can, Ali, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'll stay. I'll keep me posted on them.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're messaging me like on the daily, because like obviously it's the time machine needs time to charge, all that bollocks.
That's right. If you just keep messaging me about the country album, and I'll keep pinging you about the lineup, the Time Machine lineup.
Neither thing will ever happen, but we'll probably become close friends because of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to dream big. You got to dream big, eh?
That's it, man. Ali, thanks ever so much for your time, brother.
No worries. Thank you guys for having me. Lovely to meet you and chat to you.
Yeah, it's been an absolute joy. For people who haven't checked out about what you're doing, get on all their social media platforms and make sure you catch them at a gig sometime soon. They're obviously now quite heavily involved in the wave classic rock scene, so you'll see them about if you're obviously checking out other bands. And like I said earlier, with me and Ryan, I'd love to make it to a gig, and hopefully Rivers will share the stage with you at some point as well, man.
Right back at you. I'd love that.
Cheers, brother. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you, boys.
See you soon.
Cheers. Take care.
So that was Master Ali of Electric Black. Really cool guy. Like I say, we've not had the pleasure really of seeing the boys back live. As we discussed in the interview, we've not, like me and the boys in Rivers, haven't gigged with them yet on the scene. As you said before, Andrew, they gigged with our brothers in the Tides at the GIF recently. So I'm looking forward to seeing them live and seeing what they do. I get a really good vibe off Ali. I don't know if you got that in the interview.
Yeah, I mean, we say this all the time, but he was a cool guy, wasn't he? He seems very down to earth and very grounded. And I just like his kind of overall attitude towards where he wants to be and where he's going. For him it's like he wants it to be self-sustainable, so he can do what he loves on a daily basis. And it's like, if you achieve that, then you're winning. And that's kind of my philosophy in life. If I can do that thing, and I'm winning, but yeah, he's I heard when they had the EP, what do they call it?
Like a launch, like an EP.
Yeah, the launch. That went down really well.
I saw a lot of pictures of that man on the socials, and it looked like they got a great crowd in. For considering like the early steps of the band, like it looks like they've already forming like quite a bit of a core following, which is really exciting.
It is, it's we mentioned before this, didn't we? We were like thinking of like breakthrough bands, and it's as we said in the past, it's like the term breakthrough. They could be a band that's been going for years and they could have been molding their sound or look. But with them, I think, it's relatively recent in terms of their current iteration. And they seem to have really just this, this is who we are. This is what we sound like. This is going to be like our style going forward.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited, man, to see what happens next with them. You know, because I think because already it seems like they know who they are. There's already quite a cool sound and a vibe coming from them. So to see what the next evolution of that's really cool. I mean, we joke about this off air, but I tend to watch the Iron Maiden early days documentary every 6 months, and then watch every other Iron Maiden documentary, which I'm currently going through at the minute. And Maiden, obviously, in the early days, the new wave of British heavy metal, which has been, you know, sort of heavily linked with the new wave of classic rock. Maiden set themselves apart by having that identity. Every show, you know, they'd make this money, it'd go on this, you know, they were growing the sound. And whereas other bands, after 4 or 5 years, you know, were just starting to find themselves, Maiden had already nailed that to the ground, and we're only just then developing and growing that, you know. And it's interesting to look around and see bands similar to Electric Light that know who they are and are now just growing on that, you know. It doesn't matter when it happens, but if it can happen earlier, I think it's a positive in the band, you know, because then you can just stride it in that direction without kind of having to dance around till you find which path you're meant to go around. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what Ali and the boys do, and absolute pleasure to have them on the vibe, man.
Yes, it's just a really cool little thing to do. I mean, it's nice to have like new bands, like new upcoming bands on every now and then.
It's very good of us to want to, you know, give them platform right. And it's very good of us to want to
no, it's cool to like have a new thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, there'll be probably a few people that will hopefully now go and check them out. I mean, I think you should go and check them out, quite frankly.
I agree. And to be honest, having him on the vibe and having that sort of connection, that bit of chat, you know, and stuff, it made me want to, you know, to try and catch a show with them, you know, and to give them a listen as more than what I already have, you know. And as you say, I hope it's the same for everyone else, you know, because we've got to support new bands coming through and keep the scene alive, you know, because it's still growing, it's still heading forward, you know. So yeah, give them a listen and check them out.
Yes, and if you like what we're doing, you can subscribe, of course. We have new videos out every Saturday from 10 a.m, usually the podcast. And if you want to find out what guest we have, we release a teaser trailer every Wednesday from 10 a.m. as well. We also have, if that isn't enough, we also have Extra Vise, which will be returning shortly with something new, so keep your eye out for that. And we also do Beyond the Gear as well, where we chat with various different artists, don't we, on the road?
About we do indeed, yes. We do. That is Mr. basically indulging my interests, because he knows that if I was literally about to say the weirdest thing ever then. I've not been out all week, and I nearly said, if Kitty doesn't get fed, Kitty gets angry, and I'm really glad I didn't say that. I know I've said that now.
I mean, it's out the bag.
But I'm glad. No, I mean, Ryan won't include this in the episode. Will you?
I'm disturbed that you've released your own thoughts to me there. But
I do sometimes do this to Ryan. I think he does think, you know, there's probably other people he could present in this podcast, but that wouldn't be the vibe. Obviously, we're now coming up
trapped.
to our year end. Don't say you're trapped. Some sort of, like, you're not my wife. Yet. You know, I'm sure you'll keep putting pressure on me to ask the question, but yeah, and obviously we're coming up to our year anniversary, but we've got a very special way of celebrating that. But obviously, if you don't join the vibe, you can't find out what that is. So make sure you subscribe, click the bell, like us on all the normal socials, and of course, we will see you
next week.